crafty friends, welcome back to my channel. This is our final layout for this month with the Give Story Kit, and since this is my last layout, there are a lot of pictures on my desk because since this is the last layout, I decided that I was really going to work to crush this kit and tell a big story with a lot of pictures and a lot of stuff. So one of the stories I knew I was eventually going to tell with the Give Story Kit when Krystal and I decided to start with Give was this thing that my family and a few members of my church does. We haven't done it in we didn't do it last year because time just got away from everybody. But right around Christmas and Thanksgiving, and we actually started doing it a few like random times during the year, a bunch of us would load up the shopping cart with food and with clothes, and we would, we'd home cook food and we would take it to the city and we would just walk through Manhattan and give out food and clothes until we ran out of stuff. And we started it one Thanksgiving, and then we did it the same year that Christmas, and then it just became a thing we did, and so we kept doing it. And it was typically the same group of people. We picked up a few people along the way, but the few of us that started it kept doing it. My husband's actually done it a few times with us. And it's just a good way to give back. And so I knew that when we picked Give for our first kit for Story Kit Crush, I just knew that this was a story that I was going to end up telling. And it's kind of weird how I don't have a lot of photos from this particular series of events. I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it this particular series of events. I feel like I should have more photos for as often as we did it, but for some reason, I don't have very many pictures. These pictures are from the second time we did it. I went through my phone for like almost a half hour and I couldn't find pictures of this. So my plan was for this story was to use pictures from a bunch of different times. I didn't want all the pictures to be from from one day. But I just couldn't find any pictures. So all the pictures I have printed out are from one day. And this is going in my 6x12 album. And I'm sure at this point you're like, Tashiana, how many albums do you have? I have a lot. I have quite a few albums. And this is going in my 6x12 album. And my 6x12 album is a story album the same way that my 6x8 album is a story album. It is just a place for me to tell longer stories. If I have more pictures that I want to include, that's what I do in my 6x12 album. I originally started my 6x12 album as an album all about me, and then I just started adding things about other people to it. And so I treat it like my storybook, just on a grander scale. I am working in so many different sizes right now. It's just literally like when I'm ready to tell a story, I think about how big do I want to print the picture, how many pictures do I want to print, what size would be the best size for telling this. And so I decided to go 6x12. So I have a few inserts. This was a 9x12 page that was the 3x3 squares, and I just took it into my paper trimmer and trimmed off a third of it because I just wanted the 6x12. This was a 6x12 that I cut in half. So now it's 3x12, and then this is a 6x12 with the 3 pockets. So while I was talking to you, you guys saw I was just arranging things the way I want them to go. And I'm actually gonna take a picture of this side because I'm going to forget immediately. Like the second I take all this off, I'm going to forget. And this is what I do while I'm scrapbooking all the time. Like once I have something arranged, I just take a picture of it so I remember what I want to do when it's time to start putting things back in the pockets. So I'm going to work on my, I guess this is actually, you know what? I'm going to work on my insert first because this, I'm not doing much to this besides slipping things in the pocket. So since this is my final project for Give for now, because the plan was does this fit in the pockets? Oh my God. The plan was once we've, quote unquote, crushed the kit for a whole month, we were going to separate it and put everything back into our stash. And so since this is like my official final project for the Give Story Kit and I'm ready to move on to something else, I want to use up as much as I can on this page. Obviously being intentional about everything I use. I don't want to just put things on the page to put things on the page. But I want to use as much as I can. And so I have pretty much everything out from the kit that I think I can use on this page. In fact, I think the only thing I don't have out on my desk right now are the die cuts and all of the embossed circles. I am using one of the embossed circles, but I know that I won't be able to use all of them. So I have them all tucked in a corner at the top of my desk. So my plan is to literally just pop things in the pockets. I have these Studio Calico labels. I got a few of these in the mail the other day, and I think they were doing like a coupon if you were a subscriber. So I got a few of them because, sorry, I'm looking for my stamp pad. I got a few of them because they're like $1.50 or something like that a sheet, and you can never go wrong with having a bunch of labels. I'm sorry guys, I'm just looking for my stamp pad. So you can't ever go wrong with labels. So I have a bunch of labels in almost the entire rainbow. After I looked at it, I realized I didn't get any red ones, but whatever. I'm pretty close to the entire rainbow, and I want to do some stamping. Now the difference between these labels and Allie's labels is these are paper. They're not like the glossy cardstock that Allie's labels are. These are just paper, so you can stamp with any ink on them, whereas with Allie's labels, because they're glossy, you can only use certain inks. So I want to stamp something here. I think I'm gonna go with This Story Is a Gift. So my plan is to just mix embellishments on this page. Now, you know my thing, if I do it on one page, I have to do it on the multiple pages, and I really wanted to use a bunch of the chipboard up just as I had so much of it left. So I'm just going to be putting chipboard everywhere. So I'm going to be repeating this label idea and repeating the chipboard on multiple photos. So I just stamped This Story Is a Gift. It fit perfectly on this label. If I had my tweezers like a good crafter, I would use my tweezers for this, but my tweezers have jumped ship. They have escaped. I hope I didn't throw them out in my like massive cleaning thing that I was doing the other day, but if I did, that wouldn't surprise me. So I'm just putting this down, hopefully close to center. Yeah, it's actually pretty close to center. It's not perfectly centered, but it's close enough to center, and it's straight because I used my T-square. Okay, great. So here we go. That is this middle insert done, just like this. I put the gray chipboard here to repeat the gray on that tag. I really wanted to use this tag up somehow. It's in a pocket, it's getting used up. On this side, I took this card, cut it down, so it is the same size as that tag. I have journaling somewhere. Okay. Okay, you guys, I found my journaling. So I have some journaling about this this experience. I did journaling on two different cards. I'm just going to put a heart. I like this navy, so I'm going to put this navy heart right down here because we're going to be mixing. Or do I want to put one of the cork stickers on this? Where are the cork stickers? I literally had everything out on my desk and organized, and then I just started throwing things around looking for my journaling and lost everything. Okay. I think I'm going to go with the cork sticker, and I'm going to put this one that says give thanks. So this definitely is a very give appropriate story because we're talking about giving back. And these pictures were taken during Thanksgiving. Well, the weekend of Thanksgiving. That's the second time we went. Okay, so I will read you my journaling really quickly. It just says, I do not have words for how much I love this group of people, some of who I was raised with, some of who found their way into my lives. It's my life. My life. By faith or circumstances and stayed put, some who just were a gift in and of itself. So grateful that the gifts in my life do not have to be tangible ones, and that the people in my life are really the gifts that keep giving. So here's my insert. I like that so much. I love this like skinny size. This feels really good. So that's my insert done. So now we can work on the two bigger spreads. And honestly, the reason I have the insert is because I wanted to use this. I wanted to get more photos in, and I wanted to get more words and use up more cards. So if you're doing like a 6x12 spread, don't be worried about putting in additional inserts. There are no rules to scrapbooking, you guys. I say this all the time, that we should just do whatever makes us happy. There are no rules to how you do this and to how your pages should look. So now I just realized that I don't have everything I need. I need a piece of paper. So I will be right back. Okay, friends, so we're back. So we got the things I needed. So you saw when I arranged this, I had 6 photos. And what I want to do is do some repeat stamping to put some chipboard on because I want to use up my chipboard. So I kind of like the Love This Season of Giving one. It just feels really appropriate. So I'm going to stamp it. And while I was looking for paper, I was trying to decide what color I wanted to do my stamping in. And there's so much color on the photos already. And I'm going to be adding colored embellishments. And so it just made sense to me to go with a neutral for my stamping. So I'm stamping with gray ink. The gray ink that I'm using is Auto Rock from Ali, the Crafters inks. And I am not going for perfect stamping with this, you guys. I am going for finished. I'm going to attempt a brick pattern with this. We will see how successful I am. It should be pretty easy because this stamp is a square, but this is also me we're talking about, so who knows. So I put my first stamp down and we're just gonna build a pattern. Okay, you guys. So here's the first one. So I just stamped it. It is not neat by any stretch of the imagination. You'll see like these 2 stamps are closer than these 2 stamps and they're not straight, but I think that gives it character. And then I think I'm going to put I think I'm gonna put the orange one on top of this one. So I'm just gonna go in and pop some chipboard, which is part of the reason why I wasn't terribly, 2 reasons why I wasn't terribly concerned about my stamping being perfect. 1, my stamping's never gonna be perfect, and I'm not gonna beat myself up. 2, I'm throwing some chipboard right in the middle of it, so. All right, so I'm trying to get this close to centered. There we go. So that's how that looks. So I have my stamping in the background, and then I have that big piece of chipboard on top. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. I think what I might do is do give for this one, but kind of do it on a bias, do it on a diagonal. I think that might be fun. So I promise I will clean my stamps later when I'm not in the middle of making something. So same thing, I have used this stamp before with some yellows and oranges, which is why my stamp is a little bit stained, but still gives a great impression. So we're gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna put my paper on an angle, and actually, as I do this, we can talk about some stuff that's coming up. So Ali has this new thing coming up next week, which you guys probably already know if you follow her on Instagram. She's doing Stamp Week next week, which is gonna be a bunch of ways to use stamps in your paper crafting. So I decided that I am going to follow along. So Monday through Friday next week, you will get a video from me every day, which honestly these days is not very different from what I'm already doing because I promised, I think like 8 videos a month, and I've been uploading almost every day like a lunatic. So you'll get a video Monday through Friday from me every day with a different stamp technique. So we're gonna be doing things really similar to what I just did, which is making a background, or repeat stamping, or using stamps as prompts, or using alpha stamps, or using number stamps. So if you are looking for ways to get your stamps to go a little bit further, or ways to just like new ways to play with your stamps, number 1, tune into Ali because she's gonna have blog posts and videos every day. And then come back to my channel next week because I will have, again, videos every day on how to get your stamps a little bit further. So you guys, look at those filler cards. How cool did those come out? I love this. I chose a chipboard that had the give in her handwriting to match the give with the stamping that I did in the background. Really easy. This literally took me like 2 minutes to get this done. So super easy to get your stamping to add like impactful stamping. So that's how those are gonna look. And I think those look super cool already. What I will do is quickly stamp some labels, and I will be right back. Okay, friends, so I have my stamping. I just went in and stamped 4 labels. I stamped I give you and you give me on the yellow, and I had to make sure that the stamp's sentiments were small enough to fit on the labels, so I just chose to use those 2 over and over. And now I'm just gonna pick random photos to add them on. I'm gonna pull up my picture. So going to pull up my picture so I know where things are going, so I can make sure that the labels, like I'm not putting two yellow labels right next to each other. Okay, so this one's going on the bottom, so I can, and I'm not going to put them all in the center because this is a picture of my sister and I don't want the label to be covering her. This one is closer to the bottom, so I can put a blue one, and I'm going to put the You Give Me label because I put the I Give You in the yellow. And I'm just talking you through the choices I make and why. Actually, I kind of want to put this one at the top. So I'm just talking you through the choices I make and why I make those choices. I think that's really helpful when you're scrapbooking in real time to kind of explain why you do the things you do. So I am varying the placement of my labels. I think I'm going to put this yellow one, I'm missing a picture, it's right here. I think I'm going to put this yellow one up here, and this one I can put at the bottom because there's plenty of space. So I'm just kind of varying my placement of the labels. I think that adds interest, but having a repetitive element also helps to tie the pages together. So since I'm making a multiple spread layout, like this is not just one 12 by 12, I have this thing, I've said this multiple times, I feel like when you have a repeating element, it helps to tie the pages together if the repeating element is on multiple parts of the spread. So since I put that label down, I'm just repeating the labels with the stamping. So that's all I'm doing. Okay, so now we're just going to reassemble our page. I'm going to put everything in the pockets, and I will be right back. Okay, friends, so I'm back. So I had to make a few last minute executive decisions as I was putting things in the pockets. I realized that I wanted some embellishments on these photos. And since I had the cork here, I just repeated the cork. So now I have 3 cork elements. I have the labels everywhere. I have my chipboard with my stamping. I think that looks really good, just like this. So now we're gonna flip this, and then also you have that label right here. So it's all kind of repeating. We have the chipboard elements. Everything feels tied together really nicely. So now we're just gonna make my title page, which has a large photo and a bit more journaling about the story that I'm telling. So I'm gonna grab my last pocket, and I think what would make the most sense is to do another label. So I have 3 of the yellow labels. I'm going to grab a blue label, and I probably should have done this. Figure out what I want to stamp on the blue label that'll fit. Okay, friends, so I had to do a little bit of a switcheroo because the only stamp that I had that would fit in this label, like with the size of this label, is the stamp that says "This story is a gift." And I didn't want to introduce any new textures to get a different size label. So what I did was since I used that stamp here and I didn't want to use it again, I just swapped this photo for this photo. So now the cork is on this side, the label's on this side, and I get to use the label that says "This story is a gift" on this side. I am literally making this up as I go, which again, I think is like one of the perks to watching someone scrapbook in real time, is you get to see the decisions I'm making and why I'm making them. So there we go. So now that's in there. I have my journaling. I am going to put a heart somewhere. I thought I put a heart. Oh, I didn't put the heart. Never mind. I was like, I thought I put a heart on one of these photos, but I didn't. So we'll see. Maybe I'll put a heart somewhere. There's still time to embellish. But for my journaling, it says "Stories from the Season of Giving." It says, "The first time this idea was brought to me, I immediately said yes. I marveled over the idea of loading up a shopping cart full of home-cooked food and coats and shoes, hopping on the subway to Times Square and giving back to those who aren't as lucky as I am. I cried that first day, and when the opportunity came up to make this a regular thing, to pitch in and raise money and make something with my own hands that could be a blessing to other people, I jumped and grabbed it with arms wide open. These photos are from the second time we did this, the second time we dragged that beat-up shopping cart through the streets, and while it was not easy and my heart broke open over and over, something about this giving of gifts healed me a little bit every time someone hugged me and said thank you. I hope I always remember to give love, and that this gift is the best of them all." Just some quick journaling about, what we were doing that day and what I was feeling. I really hope that someone has more pictures so I can expand this spread, because I could totally add more pictures to the back side of this and just build this spread and keep repeating the elements, because I do have a few things left from the kit. So that is 100% a possibility. So I am totally going to hunt the rest of these photos down and see if anyone has them. And I wanted to use this big black card that says this story is a gift. So I'm putting everything together to see if it's too stark, and I think it looks okay with the big black card. And then I have this embossed circle from the kit that says hello. And there are a bunch of these wonky circles. This is the one I'm using because what I want to do is stamp Season of Giving so that my title is Hello Season of Giving. And this is just the way I like to use, I'm looking for something, just a bit of scratch paper. This is just the way I like to use my stamps. They work really well as titles. As I say this all the time, if you are with this, picking up a kit and you're stuck about what stories to tell, use the journaling cards and use the stamps as story prompts. I knew I wanted to tell this story anyway, so this one wasn't one that I struggled with. But there was definitely, the first layout I made with this kit, I 100% did not know what story I wanted to tell. And I started with the I give you, you give me stamp duo, and it worked out perfectly. Okay, so hopefully this works. That perfect stamping. I am no longer saying I am not a stamper. I am 100% owning my stamping because that was perfect. So hello Season of Giving. Going to put a heart underneath it. So I want to go with the navy. I think I'm going to use that navy heart. So I'm going to put a navy heart right underneath my stamping. Perfect. That looks so good. And then I think I'm going to put 2 more hearts on this. So I have 3 hearts on the page, because you know how I am about my 3 thing. And then I don't have to worry about putting hearts anywhere else on the spread because my 3 hearts are on the same element. So I'm just going to use a little bit of tape runner to stick this down, kind of off-centered. So I'm leaning it more to the right. And then I'm just going to put 2 more hearts. And I think, so now that I have the other 2 hearts, I think I'm going to move that navy one. I don't want it perfectly centered anymore. I kind of want it off to the side. And I think I'm going to move that yellow one down so it's more on the center. This is seriously just making these choices in real time. Now if I was really brave, I would do some date stamping on this, but I've done so much work on this spread that I don't know if I'm brave enough to do date stamping, because every time I try to use my roller date stamp, I inevitably ruin what I'm making. So I'm probably not, I'm just checking to see that my title is straight. It is. Probably not going to add any date stamping. I really want to. I'm not going to do it because if I ruin this, I will go cry in a corner and it's not worth it. Okay, so, I probably have to add some glue to these hearts because they're not sticking as much right now. All right, so that's in. That's in. I don't think I'm embellishing my title at all. I think I'm going to leave it. You guys, that's my complete spread. Oh, I like that so much. That came out so good. Okay, so I have my 3 pocket element with this, and then this flips open, and then I have the more photos with the words and the stamps and the chipboard and the repeat labels, and I think that came out so good. That's so much fun. So I hope you enjoyed the first month of Story Kit Crush. I guess Krystal won't mind me telling you this, but next month we are crushing the Watch Story Kit. And I'm so excited to tell stories of what we're watching on TV, what we're watching the people in our lives do, what we're watching around us. I'm super excited to get into that kit and tell some stories. So if you are participating in Story Kit Crush, number 1, don't forget to keep tagging me on Instagram, tagging me in your stories. I love seeing what you guys are making. Number 2, please make sure you keep using the hashtag so I can scroll through the hashtag and see what you guys are up to. And if you've been following along with Give, pull out your stuff for Watch, because next month, first Friday in March, that's the next month, the first Friday in March, we're going to have our first project with the Watch Story Kit up. Krystal and I are having so much fun making and sharing with you guys, and I hope you're enjoying tagging along on this adventure. So, housekeeping, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe if you're so inclined. I love reading your comments. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell somewhere in the bottom so you never miss a video, and so you get notified every time I upload, because next week's Stamp Week, and there's going to be a video every day. And that's all I have for you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this spread. I really like how it came out. And till next time, keep it crafty and I will see you around. Bye, friends.